The Texas Workforce Commission has partnered with the Texas Restaurant Association to understand how COVID-19 has changed the industry. COVID-19 and resulting temporary business closures made life in restaurant operations unpredictable. Many plans made in 2020 had to be adjusted. Luckily for business owners, government programs offered flexibility and relief. The government offered the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, tax credits and the opportunity to defer some tax payments. PPP Forgiveness. There were 2 rounds of PPP funding. If you secured funding from the first round of PPP, it's now time to request forgiveness. Depending on your lender, you should now be able to request loan forgiveness for the first round of PPP funding. When you applied for PPP funds, you provided financial documents to your lender. That financial documentation showed how much money you needed to cover eligible costs. If you use the PPP funds to pay for eligible costs, that loan is eligible to be forgiven. If your PPP loan is forgiven, you do not need to repay any of the money you received. PPP funds were authorized to be used to pay payroll, mortgage interest, rent or lease payments, utilities. To be eligible for forgiveness, 60% of the loan must have been spent on payroll. You had to keep and pay all your employees at their regular wages. You must request forgiveness of the loan from your lender. Each lender has a different process for requesting forgiveness. When you can apply for forgiveness also depends on your lender. Your lender may or may not yet have a process set up for requesting forgiveness. Your forgiveness application must be submitted within 10 months after the covered period of your PPP loan. If you do not apply in time, your loan payments can no longer be forgiven. You will then need to start making loan repayments according to the required schedule. To request forgiveness for a PPP loan, contact your lender. Compile documentation. Submit forms and documentation to your lender. Communicate with your lender. As long as you met the deadline and funds were used for the correct purpose, your loan should be eligible to be forgiven, with no interest or cost to you. You can find more information about PPP loans and PPP loan forgiveness on the SBA's website at sba.gov. Employee Retention Tax Credit. The Employee Retention Tax Credit, or ERTC, is part of the CARES Act. The ERTC was designed to encourage employers to keep employees on their payroll. This tax credit allows employers to claim a credit on their taxes. The credit can be up to 50% of qualified wages. The Employee Retention Tax Credit helps employers keep paying their employees. Wages that qualify for the ERTC must have been paid to employees from March 12, 2020 and before January 1, 2021. The maximum credit per employee is $5,000. Wage adjustment for tipped employees. You can adjust the wages of tipped employees who were not able to earn tips during COVID. You can base payroll estimates on the wages you currently pay staff, not what they were paid before COVID. You can use these wages to compute loan forgiveness as well. Sick leave cap. There's a cap for sick leave expenses. For an individual employee, sick leave is capped at $200 per day and $10,000 total. For someone who takes sick leave to care for a quarantined child or family member, sick leave is capped at $200 a day and a total of $2,000 per employee. Taxes. For many individuals, it's possible to file their own taxes using a simple form or software. Business taxes are different, especially for 2020. To be sure your taxes are filed correctly, hire an accountant. An accountant can make sure you pay the taxes you must and deduct all the expenses you can. They can also ensure that you get access to all of the resources for which you are eligible. Taxes are a maze in a good year. Add on top of it government support programs such as the PPP and Employee Retention Tax Credit, and it's doubly complicated. It's important to understand the basics of these programs, but it's also important to hire a qualified accountant. Thanks for joining us for this video series.